As the crisis biting and rocking the PDP mines deeper,
Vice President Atiku Abubakar has been a perpetual presidential candidate, whether we like it or not, since the advent of this democratic tempo in 1998 to the present. He has always had the ambition of running for the president of this country. And let me tell you, that ambition is still burning.
some members of the PDP have said the root cause of this issue, the crisis rocking the PDP, is simply because the PDP has made so many men worthy and too powerful that the PDP can no longer contain them.
I'm sending a word of caution to Mr. President. He should be able to look dispassionate towards 2027 if he wants to be president. But allowing the PDP, especially, to be scattered under Wike, Wike is not going to hand over that thing to him on a platter of gold. Though. He is also running.
So,
and therefore, empowering him is as good as empowering your enemy. Because Wike doesn't have a permanent friend.
Right.
It's only permanent enemies. To delve into this issue of great importance, especially the crisis position in political parties, especially that of the PDP, that has been in contention, we have to look at the issues both in content and character. We have to properly situate and contextualize the issues based on the issues that have been coming up left, right, and center. I have listened attentively to Mr. Otang, who is also a chairmanship candidate for the party. I've seen that he has been very diplomatic in approach to the issues and also withholding punches. Now, the fact is there's a power play towards 2027. And this power play is centered around fundamentally two people or two groups. One, led by the former governor of Rivers State, who is also the minister of the FCT, Nelson Wike, and the other one, which is by perception, I don't know, but they're talking of Atiku again and some other concerned groups that are interested in that power come 2027. Now, one of the most worthy and outstanding narrative about the issues in contention, especially that of the chairmanship, is that somebody somewhere within the party is trying to hijack the party by hijacking the political leadership of the party and also trying to make sure that he stands fit on the sands of time towards 2027. You see, let us be factual. Let us look at it dispassionately, because I think we've not been able to look at these issues from a proper perspective in trying to dissect and analyze them based on contending issues. One, fundamentally, Dr. Constance, you will agree with me, that the minister of the FCT and the former Rivers State governor is seriously looking ahead of 2027.
right.
And let me tell you, let me sound a note of caution to Mr. President. Mr. President has been empowering this minister, both in terms of resources and in terms of power. Look, it is just like playing with the tiger, holding the tiger by the tail. Whether we like it or not, Nelson Wike is not doing all this to hand over power to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Right.
He is looking at it from the viewpoint of trying to get power. God has blessed Nelson Wike. He started as somebody selling tickets in the motor park. He rose to chairman of local government, rose to become a chief of staff, a junior minister, a governor, and now a full-fledged minister.
Okay, so you mentioned also Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who was the party's candidate in the last elections. Are you shocked that he possibly will be running again in a party where there are possibly other younger people that could run? Isn't that basically destroying the party for the ambition of one man?
You see, Vice President Atiku Abubakar has been a perpetual presidential candidate, whether we like it or not, since the advent of this democratic tempo in 1998 to the present. He has always had the ambition of running for the president of this country. And let me tell you, that ambition is still burning. Look, there's a need for us to have a change. This country cannot be governed by all these old politicians. We need a fresh blood. People with idea, people with character, and people that will be able to mobilize both human and material resources for the progress of this country. As it is today, Nigeria, it's sad to note that this country as it is today is plagued by the issues that has to do with corruption, unmitigated lawlessness, crass impunity, spiritually indiscipline, and also the security challenges that leaves us paradoxically poor in the midst of plenty.
Okay, so how do you think we can get that fresh blood that you have just mentioned?
Nigeria has been blessed with abundant human and natural resources. Believe me, the world over, I think very few countries can rival Nigeria in terms of material resources, in terms of people of character that will be able to move this country forward. What we are lacking is leadership. What we are lacking is somebody that will be central to the modus operandi of governance, administration, and also looking at the economy, and also looking at the issue of security. Once we're able to get somebody with strong will, Nigeria is never lacking. So if we do that by propping up younger politicians or younger people that could be able to stand the test of time, we're on a steady way of progress.
Well, some will say that looking at the political system, it's actually the problem that even if you bring up younger people, a lot of them are already behaving like the current set of politicians, so there's probably no hope.
You see, Dr. Constance, under globalization and multiculturalism such as ours in Nigeria, we are under no illusion as to the fact that Nigeria is confronted by a myriad of problems. But do we say hands akimbo, I resign to God, without looking for options? It is a defeatist ideology for anybody to think that Nigeria doesn't have the potential to move this country forward. We have. It's only that it has not been tapped. And the issues of the issue of politics in Nigeria is based on the power play of money. Virtually, people are looking for power, or people are galvanizing resources, money, because they want to go and maybe hijack the electoral processes and also pay their way out and then get pronounced as governors, president, councillors, and what have you. As I've said, I'm sending a word of caution to Mr. President. He should be able to look dispassionate towards 2027 if he wants to be president. But allowing the PDP, especially, to be scattered under Wike, Wike is not going to hand over that thing to him on a platter of gold. He is also running. So, and therefore, empowering him is as good as empowering your enemy. Because Wike doesn't have a permanent friend. Right. It's only permanent enemies.
So are you supporting the president with age? You know, he's an old man. Are you supporting him to run again in 2027? Is that what you're saying?
You see, it is within the balance of his democratic latitude to feel if he has done well. Because as it is today, Nigerians are suffering. Let us be under no illusion as to the fact that people are suffering. People are hungry and are angry. And look at even the contentious issue of fuel increase. It has made Nigeria poorer, pitiable, and people that have been subjugated. Look, for some time now, I've always been thinking as if we are still under colonialism. Because as it is today, I don't see the value of democracy in the sense that, has it been able to meet the yearnings and pressure of the people? No. Have we been able to see to the fact that, look, there has been mobilization of both human and material resources towards the greatness of this country? I would say no. We need somebody of character. We need somebody that has been able to know the political dynamics of this country to come on board, because Nigeria is never lacking our state. For the purpose of emphasis, Dr. Constance, and for nth time, let me tell you, Nigeria has great potentials. The only thing is, if you can open the door, open the window of opportunity for people to come in, people that think they can turn around the fortune of this country. But as I'm saying, based on your question, Mr. President, as he is today, based on his age, and also based on performance profile as it is today, if you ask me, I will tell you that he has not been able to meet the minimum standard of progressive development in terms of architectural, cavity of Nigerian populace, and also in terms of meeting the yearnings of Nigeria under democracy. And using any parameter of democratic practice, if you look at it, we are still in minus. Therefore, What do we do if I are the president? 2027, I'll look for somebody that is patriotic and somebody with nationalistic instinct towards the development and progress of this country and tell him to contest. Because for now, you can see what Joe Biden has done in America. Bearing in mind that when he was to go for the second term, they told him that, look, you're old, and based on your level of thinking, you're not supposed to go. He withdrew. That is statesmanship. That is politics of conviction. And that is politics of thinking ahead for the country. So if Mr. President, he has 2 or 3 more years to go. If he has been able to meet the annual operations for Nigeria, why not? But as it is today, it's a pity that we are wallowing in poverty, abject poverty. We have people in governance that are more of parrots rather than patriots. The leadership profile is in danger.
So how does this crisis affect the PDP's ability to challenge the APC in future elections? Because you need other parties, not just the APC.
As it is today, Dr. Constance, there's the need for the political class to sit down and think of moving ahead. Don't allow politics. If you say politics is a dirty game, don't allow dirty people to handle it. There's a need for reinvigoration of thought. People should sit down, conceptualize issues, look at democracy from a wider perspective, not narrowing it to the prism of money politics and also prism of godfatherism. There's the need for us to look at people that will be able to deliver, people that have the thinking caps. You see, as it is today, I have not been able to see aggregation of thoughts within the political parties, all of them. Most of their campaign promises, most of their this thing, what is this thing?
Manifesto?
Manifesto, thank you, Dr. Constance, are almost similar, as if it is a photocopy. So we've seen governance from 1999 gradually declining and dropping to the last ebb. There's a need for us to reinvigorate it by way of having people that will sit down and articulate the problem of Nigerians with a view to solving it, especially the issue of corruption.
Okay.
Corruption, because there are some people now that are above the law from all indications. Right. So there's a need to fight corruption, which is a major conqueror. Then insecurity and placing food on the tables of the people by way of reducing the pump price of petrol to make Nigerians great.
Are you for deregulation or subsidy?
The defining line between deregulation and subsidy is very narrow, Dr. Constance. If you agree with me, if you look at the issue of deregulation has to do with government completely removing its hands from the issue of petrol. There's nowhere in the world that government doesn't subsidize 1 or 2 things.
Yes.
And therefore, in Nigeria, petrol seems to be the heart of economic prosperity and almost everything. You see, with this deregulation and removal of fuel subsidy, the regulation presupposes the fuel subsidy should be removed. And as it is today, we are suffering from 600 and something naira per liter. It has now crossed over 1,000 naira. People cannot go to farms because of insecurity. And now this deregulation issue, we should look, I appeal to Mr. President. If he's listening to me on this program today, I appeal to him. Let him use his conscience to know that Nigerians are suffering. Let him forget about all these advice that are telling him that everything is normal. That is not true. He should think of ameliorating the poverty level of Nigerians by way of, whether we like it or not, we must subsidize. Developed countries, even America, China, and everywhere, they are subsidizing either bread, fuel, and water. This is one of the natural resources that God has endowed this country with. And this is something that we are not paying to bring you out from the ground. God has abundantly blessed Nigeria. So what is the basis of us having petrol? And people in the Niger Delta will be paying almost 1,500 per liter when others that don't even have the resources are paying less. So to me, there should be fair play. Let us think of reducing the subsidy, reducing the wahala of the people. Mr. President has history by his side. In 2 years' time, if he cannot aggregate things that will work for Nigerians, I think we're in deep trouble.
Party chieftain and chairmanship aspirant of the PDP. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, Constance. Good evening, Nigerians.
So let's start with, what we heard earlier today. that the National Working Committee of your party suspended the National Publicity Secretary and National Legal Advisor on grounds of disloyalty and insubordination. Can you expatiate on these allegations?
It's subjective, but you see, this whole issue borders first on locus and then secondly on mandate. It is proper to set the right narrative. If you say there was a suspension, there was a counter suspension, you must first of all be able to situate it properly. There must be locus and there must be the mandate to carry out such a suspension. Was the National Working Committee right to have suspended the National Publicity Secretary and the National Legal Advisor? Did they have the quorum to do that? And the question is, did the Publicity Secretary and the National Legal Advisor, two members of the National Working Committee, also have the proper mandate, to counter-suspend?
Can we stay on the suspension, first of all, of the National Legal Secretary? I want to understand these grounds. I want you to expatiate how it came to be. Let's finish with that, then we can move on to the other ones.
If you talk about the grounds, they are mere allegations. And, the party has proper channels, for disciplinary measures on its members. It's clearly spelled out in the constitution of the party. If an allegation is made against a member of the National Working Committee, there are clear stipulations as to the route to be followed, which I think is what the party has done. Unfortunately, there's so much rancor on the party, and the party is in such a difficult situation where the party is deeply divided around certain lines, where every single position taken by either a member or collectively, the National Working Committee as a body, it is viewed or deemed along those political divides rather than getting to the meat of what the issues are. Okay,
what are those divides you're talking about? And when you say rancor, can you tell us more about that?
Unfortunately, after 16 years of unbroken leadership in this country, the PDP has created extremely successful, wealthy, and big individuals in the country. To some extent, the party space is becoming too little to accommodate their egos. I'm sure you understand the circumstances that led to the defeat of our party in the last general elections. The party has not healed completely from the loss of the 2023 elections. And by and large, some of the things you are beginning to see now begin to rear their heads are as a result of some of those unresolved issues from the last general elections. There are different camps. We cannot deny that within the party. There are different camps that we think that probably at a time like this, the elders in the room should begin to, just like what the Board of Trustees did today, begin to call everybody to the table. Look, it's time to rebuild this party.
So I want to go back to this suspension of Debo. The name is a mouthful.
Olagbedi.
No, not Ologbondia. That's another person. Ologboade or something like. Okay. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about, the National Publicity Secretary. So how long has the party known that they have been involved in anti-party activities before they were suspended?
It is subjective because, first of all, there must be an official complaint or petition against a member of a party. Now, who made those allegations? And then how were those allegations viewed? And at what point, did the National Working Committee decide, to wield in the big stick? You will need to dig deeper, but you must, I'm sure you agree with me that the party has been divided since 2023, even to the level of the National Working Committee. So
were they given an opportunity to defend themselves before they were suspended?
I think that's a process. You cannot be judging your own matter. So probably when a petition is written against a working committee member, you are asked to excuse yourself, which you can choose to use the the general term of suspension to allow for a proper investigation, and of course the right to fair hearing, where a panel will be set or a disciplinary committee, which is already set in place by the proper channels or organs of the party, will look into those allegations and see whether you actually require to be suspended or more punitive measures are supposed to be carried out against the party officer.
So were all these processes, in your constitution followed before the eventual, wielding of the big stick against these officials?
I think suspension in itself is not a big stick. There will be something bigger than that. If you say an allegation has been leveled against a party official and you want to investigate, the organs of the proper organ of the party that is saddled with that responsibility would want to know why. Probably those officers are in places of influence that may make them, to some extent, define what the investigation would be. It's more or less a step aside kind of instruction to say why the investigation is going on. You could stand aside, suspension, step aside, whatever word you choose to use. But I think it falls within the precepts of what is allowed within our laws.
Okay. In an earlier move, a faction of the NWC suspended the acting national chairman, Omar Damago, and the National Secretary Samuel Iwanya. How would you respond to this?
I started in my opening remarks by saying that you must first of all be able to situate the locus and the mandate. If you have a national working committee of, say, 25 members, would it be enough to say 2 or 3 members will be declared a faction and to some extent remove, a high-ranking officer like the national chairman and national secretary of the party? I think it's difficult to situate that within, not just moral, but within the laws of the party.
Right. So in this suspension of the National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugba faction, they had already pointed to facts raised by party members against Mr. Damago. They say that the crisis in Rivers State hasn't been managed very well, and so Mr. Damago has been accused of anti-party activities. Would you agree that under Damago's leadership, the crisis in Rivers State hasn't been handled as your party members would expect it to be?
You have to define the roles. That is why I said you must first situate, in meaning what a faction is. What is the role, the constitutional role of the National Publicity Secretary, and what is the constitutional role of the National Legal Advisor? I think the man who is in charge of the day-to-day running of the party is the national chairman, or in this case, the acting national chairman. So you must first of all be able to situate these issues properly and define, what you want to understand to be the faction. Would you say 2 or 3 members are a faction of 40-something members of the National Working Committee that has a NEC, has a board of trustees, and have several other organs of the party? I don't think so.
So let's step aside the issue of factions. Look at Rivers State crisis, which has been a major problem in your party. Do you believe your acting chairman has handled it properly? Because a lot of your members are upset with what is going on.
You see, the issue in Rivers State is one that requires proper dissecting. It didn't just start today. It didn't start with Damagun. It didn't start with some of the characters that are on the stage right now. It's deeper than that. But I must also admit that the party has been lacking in leadership. To provide a proper template to resolve the issues that have not just cropped up in Rivers, but several other local chapters of the party across the country. So it will be rather irresponsible for me to sit here and say it is Damagun. The party has a board of trustees. The party has a national executive committee. The party has a national convention, which is the highest decision-making body of the party. So to accuse just one member who, by virtue of circumstance, has become acting chairman, to be the one who is spearheading crisis or failing in solving the issues in Rivers State. It would be quite unfortunate and quite unfair. The party has several organs. Apart from the National Working Committee of the party, there's a neck of the party, there's a board of trustees, which is the angle of conscience, is a table of conscience of the party. You should ask the questions. Apart from the chairman, the acting chairman of the party, and the head of the National Working Committee, what have the other organs done? The party has failed completely. You cannot situate it around just one individual or across a small group of people in the National Secretariat as National Working Committee members. Our problems in the PDP are way deeper than Umar Damagum.
Okay, so, based on what you're saying, there is a general belief or sentiment that members of your party are actually working for the All Progressives Congress towards 2027. How would you respond to that, which is part of the crisis that you are facing?
Yeah, you see, we have a very long history of political maneuvering in Nigeria. Politics, like you know, is not a cock and jack kind of story. You don't add one and one and get two in politics. There are several ramifications to how you define what interest an individual party member's interest is within the context of the political party that he has found himself, and then across, the politics of Nigeria. It is difficult to accuse one or two individuals of doing anti-party or participating in issues that have brought about the crisis that we have in the party. Look, the PDP as a party needs to look in and dig deeper.
Right. So when will Umar Damagum step down as the acting national chairman?
I would rather tread on the side of the law. Umar Damagum did not ascribe to himself the toga of acting national chairman. Umar Damagum assumed the position of national chairman because that is what the constitution of our party says. Section 47, section 6, in fact from 45, if an officer of the party by either by death or resignation or removal by whatever circumstances, the deputy national chairman from the zone where that officer has created the vacancy would naturally take charge. So I think Umar Damagum, our acting national chairman, has assumed the position of acting national chairman by law. The question is, the agitation from the zone where the immediate past national chairman of the party has to be placed on the scale right now. Because if you have a right by law and you sit on that right, it's more or less saying you have ignored or given up that situation. If Umar Damagum has assumed the position of acting national chairman, and that position actually belongs to the North Central, what has been the agitation of the North Central, to reclaim what belongs to the North Central? So
that's a question for you, because you come from the North Central and you say you are also running for chairmanship. So why have the North Central, or has North Central not been vociferous about what is going on?
That introduces, my role in the party right now. The circumstances that led to the removal of the former national chairman, especially at the time when he left, threw the party into a lot of confusion. And probably the party has not recovered from the circumstances of that vacancy that was created. That is why some of us have decided not just to throw our hats in the ring, but to raise an agitation to say this position belongs to the North Central zone of Nigeria. Look, the party sat in 2002 and shared in 2022 and shared the positions across the 6 geopolitical zones. The position of national chairman came to the North Central, and then in the North Central we had 2 zones. There's a zone that has Kogi and Niger and Niger and Kwara, and there's a zone that has Benue and Plateau and Nasarawa. The national legal advisor went to one zone and the national chairman came to another zone. And the zone that the national chairman came to was the one for Plateau, Nasarawa and Benue. And they sat and agreed that he should go to Benue.
Right.
And then Benue sat and said he should go to Benue Northwest, considering the fact that Engineer Barnabas Gemade had been chairman in Zone A and Awudogbe had been chairman in Zone C. So we discovered that the party had been the party in the zone and in the state, and especially in the senatorial zone where Yocha Ayu hails from, had sat on his right for over a year. If not, Damagun is not supposed to be in seat as national chairman for more than a year.
I have to quickly ask you, you're running for chairman. Why exactly are you running, and how will your tenure be different? Are you sure you can lead the PDP to victory in the upcoming elections? Well, in 2027, Ondo is already by the corner.
I will take you back in history and probably
in less than a minute.
Yeah, you see, what the PDP requires now is reconciliation and peace and unity. It has to do with a lot of peace building. The party now at a time like this requires someone who is not encumbered by ego or any tall CVs of a former president or former governor or former ambassador or former minister or whatever. We need an ordinary person who understands the pains of ordinary Nigerians, not just members of the PDP, to step in the shoes and be able to build that unity that we think that the party requires at a time like this.
Clear. Wrong. We are here today informally to visit our brother, our friend, and also to discuss issues as regards our party nationwide. To also reiterate our commitment to his unwavering support that he has given to this party right from inception when he became governor. You can see the chairman of Northeast chapters here, state chapters here. It's not out of the ordinary, even though the zonal committee are not here, but they are the generals in the states. They came here also to support me, to reiterate their commitment that Northeast, where they come from, is one, and also they believe in the leadership of the Governors Forum Chairman. Today, we came as a friendly visit, but to discuss, like I earlier said, so many things. As a committed brother, me and him have come a long way, and that he has been very supportive. I want to reiterate this to my, running this party so that we stress things out. And he has also given me his commitment to continue to do so, so that we'll have one united party. I want to use this opportunity to tell Nigerians that PDP is a brand, is the only surviving party since 1998. We have tested so many turbulences, we have come out of it strong. And today we are reorganizing ourselves, uniting ourselves to make sure that come 2027, we take what rightfully belongs to us. On this note, I'll stop here and allow our host also to respond. Thank you very much.
Leader, controversial issues are not resolved publicly. This I mentioned to you when he came that this thing started, and he had arranged to come even before the suspension. And so I would say that we have agreed and discussed these suspensions extensively with the acting national chairman, and we have resolved to work along together with other organs of the party, the BOT, the members of the Governors Forum, the caucus of the Senate and the House to resolve all these issues. And that is the major takeaway of this visit, that henceforth we will deepen stakeholding, we will deepen collaboration so that all these issues that are disparaging the members of the party would be resolved and nipped in the bud.
Okay, there are accusations against the acting national chairman that he's playing the script of the Wike. Have you been able to speak about this issue?
These are perceptions, and the manifestations are just because of body languages or all these issues. And we have discussed everything from relationship, interrelationship, and personal relationship, my friendship with him, and how we have really disagreed on other issues. And we, as I said, we have decided that henceforth we will not allow gap, and we'll make sure that we resolve all these issues.
Okay, we also heard that we had it on authority that they were plotting to remove you as the chairman of the PDP governors.
We have also discussed that issue. It may not be true, but certainly these are perceptions, because when you see disagreement, my disagreement with him has caused a lot, because he has his own support even within my own membership of the governors forum and outside. And certainly I took a position that was against him. And so definitely we are going to have this disparaging manifestations that we have now decided henceforth will not allow it.
Who is acting national chairman of PDP? Yayari or Damabu?
You are creating the division, and I don't like it. As a leader, I said we are not recognizing any faction. We are together as a body, and definitely will, at the end of the day, resolve. No faction in the PDP. And that is the benefit of that he is doing to me by coming and agreeing that we should do that. We don't have to tell you our decision, because the final decision does not rest on us, the two of us, but other members that are stakeholders within the PDP, governors, and within the BOT, within the caucus, and other stakeholders.
Situation where the sufferings that is happening in Nigeria increase. I said those that collected spaghetti and wrappers to bring this government are feeling it more than anybody else. And this should be a lesson for all of us, that we should look for credibility, those who are actually proven and tested, those who are ready to govern us, not is my time, like they have always say, Emil Locon. Thank you very much.
He also noted that these men are the ones constituting nuisance, causing commotion, and trying to cause disintegration and diverse sort of issues that is leading to this crisis.